Hello, we are coming at you with another bingo TBR. We can't be stopped. It's the beauties of the tube. What can I say? I will disclose that 1, I've already started this challenge. 2, if you can hear my neighbors partying, sorry. 3, I will have no books to physically hold, even though some of these are on my physical TBR, because there's a cat sleeping in my lap and I'm just gonna let her be because this is precious and it's so hot outside that I would rather her be here than out there. Without further ado, let's get into the broad reader bingo. It's very hard for me to say. I will hopefully not say it again, just in case I mess it up. But this was created by Sarah over at Wicked Reading. I don't know why I had the feeling of calling her Wicked Scorpio. Anyway, this was released to the world in April, but if it comes back in the future, it'll be a January or December yearly fiscal year type situation. But for this year, it was released in April, so I am starting it in April. But although I've read a few things that work for it here and there, I haven't fully attempted it. Sarah is also the creator of the horror bingo, and I'm pretty much done with that. I have 2 books left, and I have until, I think, September 30th to finish that. So, we're good. We're solid. So I thought it would be fun to try this one because it, blends more genres into the bingo board. It's a way to challenge ourselves to read more. My main genres are typically fantasy, horror, and romantasy, with a minor in thrillers and romance, if you will. I do read pretty broad already. One of the genres that I am not super interested in is typically sci-fi and historical. So we're expanding. We're challenging myself a little bit. I am not opposed to reading sci-fi. I'm just not likely to pick it up right away. It's not my main draw. I don't really like all the sci-fi stuff, and I don't really care a lot about space. And so it's really exciting to have smaller challenges like this. If you said, Sam, participate in a 25 prompt sci-fi only bingo board, I don't think I would do it. And if I did, it'd probably take me a couple years. I just am not a big sci-fi person, so this is fun because I just have to read 5 minimum. If I want my center mix it up column to have sci-fi, I could. What was the issue with coming up with this TBR? Narrowing down to so few things. Oh, I had so many options, but I track all of my challenges on Storygraph with the challenge feature. People make them. The one that I'm using for Sarah was created by Wicked Scorpio. That's why I had everything make sense to me now. Wicked Scorpio created the Storygraph challenge that I use to track. Wicked Reading, Sarah, created the challenge. Great. Glad we cleared that up. Anyway, let's start with the horror column, the first one being a book with disability rep. And for this, I've already technically checked it off, but I always aim to read more if I can. So I already read You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews, and this has an autistic son character. It's more present than it is main character, but I also want to get to Leech because apparently that has disability rep. I'm not really sure. But I'm really excited for Leech, and I just need something to entice me to pick it up finally. But that is my completed first challenge. And then after that, we've got a 1-word title. So I've got 2 options. I have Wretch, which I am buddy reading with Brandy over at the Antisocials Library. So that works perfect for this. But I'm also interested in, I say interest with a really big asterisk next to it. I have Headlights by C.G. Drew as a possibility, an option. I'm for sure reading Wretch, so I'm gonna check it off. But Headlights is also a 1-word title. Headlights is also by C.G. Drews, who wrote the famous, incredible, best book ever, Mayfly, and one of my least favorite books, American Rapture. So this is kind of a third time's a try with this author to really see where I land with them, if they can pull off the whimsy of a Mayfly once again for me. I've seen pretty good reviews about Headlights, so I am intrigued, but hesitantly, Following that, we've got a horror book with chapter titles. I read The Caregiver by Marcus Kluwer, and this has titled chapters, but I also believe, and I haven't read it yet, so I won't know for sure, that Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker has chapter titles as well, and if that's the case, I'm also planning to read that very soon. Ooh, my favorite one, my favorite horror prompt is a book with a neon cover, and I have 2 options because I can't be tamed. I usually just throw all of my possibilities and options into the tracker, and then whatever I end up reading, I'm accomplished. So the first one I have is Thrall. Vampires, boarding school. Dope cover. I think it might be queer. I'm not really sure. I love this cover. I don't know why. It's very simple and straightforward, but I really like it. And the other one that I have is She's a Doll. This may or may not be a 4B's book club pick at some point. We don't really solidify like the months super far in advance. We kind of just decide it on live at the time. This is a possibility. We're gonna have to wait and see and if we can get our hands on it or whatnot. But I just think the cover is so cool. Don't know what it's about. Truly could not tell you. And the final horror prompt is a book with an isolated setting. I have 2 options for this as well. First one is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I have Rachel Harrison locked in for the year, if you will. If you've seen Hardest Reading Challenge you'll ever do, 3.0's TBR and recommendations, so much Rachel Harrison. So it makes sense to, you know, double up where I can so that I'm not completely overexerting myself. But the other option that I have, which I talked about in my last wrap up, is What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher. This is the 3rd book in the series following Alex, who's a non-binary, unfortunate lad who keeps ending up in very scary situations. And I'm pretty sure this one's like set in the woods. I have been, you know, I really liked the first book. I felt kind of okay towards the second book. So it'd be nice to finish a series and just like get it done. But we'll see. And then we go on to the sci-fi. I am not like going super hard sci-fi. I'm kind of playing it a little bit looser. But at the end of the day, Sarah's not going to yell at me if I, you know, pave my own way. So the first one we have is a non-human perspective. The option that I have is Automatic Noodle, which is a novella following robots who start a noodle shop because they're like, I think it's like an anti-capitalist critique or something of the sort. I don't really remember. I'm nervous about this one. I'm really not like the biggest fan of robot novellas. I've read a few. They're fine. I always feel fine towards them. I can understand the appeal and they're not bad, but I just I don't like cozy. I'm not a big cozy person. What can I say? Following that, we've got Sci-Fi with Unusual Time. Now, I'm kind of cheating. I do think that Wrong Place, Wrong Time is technically a thriller first, but it's playing with time and like, if it didn't have that like loop time effect, it wouldn't be a sci-fi at all, and then it would just be a book, and that wouldn't be exciting. So I do think that sci-fi plays a huge enough role that I'm going to count it, okay? Then we have the next one, which I've technically checked off, but I do have a backup book that I'm kind of interested in because it's on my physical shelf. So for a sci-fi book that has First Contact, I've already read Married to the Alien Mountain Boy, my favorite Ursa Dax alien cowboy colony mail order bride series book. What a mouthful. I love this one so much. So obviously Jaya crash landing on their planet and then having a marriage of convenience so that she can stay around long enough to fix her ship. Yeah, technically that counts. And I loved it. But I also have Sleeping Giants. This is one of those, I think, trilogies that everybody really loved back in the day and no one really talks about or reads anymore. I'm sure people are still reading it, but like not in the circles that I see and where I'm experiencing books. And I've just been interested in it. I believe it's told in like interview format, and that also intrigues me. So it won't be a super long read. It's pretty short as is, but I've been really interested. But I also know that the series doesn't have like the highest, like it doesn't get better. And that kind of makes me nervous, but I do want to try it. It's on my shelves. I might as well, right? And then we have, I think, the only book that's eligible for this type of concept, which is a sci-fi with a game or competition element. And obviously we have to read Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like there's no other option really. If you think about it, it's the only choice. And one, I would like to continue in the series. And I need to read the next one for an upcoming video. So it kind of just works out. I'm on the second book. I'm very far behind. But also like I prefer the audiobook experience, and that also requires using a credit, but I've been, you know, prioritizing other books. So I just haven't been like buying them as much. Maybe if there's a sale or something, I'll pick them up. Or if maybe we'll be blessed one day and they're taking off Audible exclusives, that'd be cool. But Carl's Doomsday Scenario is the book that I'm on. I am worried that it's been so long. I'm scared that I might have forgotten things, but like I know all of the characters. I understand the premise. So I don't feel like time away should hinder my experience, but I'm a little nervous about that. And then we have our final sci-fi, which is a book with a sky or celestial cover. This isn't the most sky celestial cover, but Gideon the Ninth, you're so cute. What the heck? I have been wanting to read for so long. I keep getting teased and excited that the 4th book will come out soon. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully 2027 at this rate, but I would like to at least get started on the series and maybe have incredible detailed notes or do like a plot recap video just so that we can refresh my noggin by the time the 4th book comes out. I don't know how connected they really are either, though, so I don't know. And everyone says they're confusing, which also makes me nervous. I'm not a big sci-fi person, so I'm like, am I gonna get it? And then we've got the fun middle column. So this is the mix it up column, and it's basically whatever your heart desires. It's encouraged to have different genres that aren't on the board and have different genres for different prompts. I'm not playing that hard with it. I kind of like the genres that I like. So the first one we have is a genre blend, and for this I'm going with Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. I feel like there's a lot of Herkid crossover. Doesn't matter. This is a horror sci-fi, which, you know, is the prior two. So like, really, we're just bringing them together. We're just blending the genres. And it's really, if you think about it, perfectly aligned with the challenge. Because I'm reading both my favorite genre, horror, and also more sci-fi. This is how I make sense in my brain of things, is I just scroll logic my way into it, and I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. And then we've got a BIPOC author. For this, I had chosen Teddy Bears Never Die. I could really pick a bajillion things. Like, it's such a blanket, like, it could be anything, truly. So we'll see as the year goes on, like, what else I read. And if I read something that's not in the horror genre, then I will slot it in. But right now I don't have anything like very specific in mind that I'm like for sure going to pick it up. So I'm just kind of letting it be for now. But I'm sure something will come up, truly. And then we've got 2026 release. I've basically done this twice. I have 3 books options. One of them's a horror, so we shouldn't. But my other 2 is a mystery thriller and a romance, which I feel like romance really fits because it's so, you know, its own thing. So I picked And Now Back to You by B.K. Borson. This is the 2nd book in the series following people that work at a news radio station. I very much enjoyed it. I had a good time with it overall. And then I also had How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. I read both of these. They were both quite good. I think they were both in like the 3.5, 4-star range. So yay to me. And then we have a historical book. Now, I'm going to be so for real. I don't like historical. I really don't, unless it's specifically in a fantasy setting and sometimes horror. Horror historical can be really hit or miss. I think Isabel Kanyas does well at them. So there's options. Speaking of, I have the ARC. Maybe that would be a good choice for this one, because I have the ARC for her new book. Interesting. Changing Our Minds live in action. I initially had for prompt slotted in was Blood on Her Tongue, because I've been meaning to read this for literally ever. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, and then I keep not, which is rude of me. So I'm putting it on this TBR in hopes to like really encourage me to pick it up. Anytime I ever make a bingo TBR or participate in some type of challenge or readathon, the goal is to read the things that I keep saying I'm going to read. I try not to find new books to put on these lists unless I really must. Like Herkid has some specifications like that. But for the most part, when I'm doing things like this, I really just want to read the books that I'm either interested in or have heard a lot about or have been recommended to me. Like I really want to hone in on those things. So that's kind of my thought process behind these. Following that, we've got a social media or friend rec. I don't know. I could, I guess, read anything that Aaliyah or Richie recommend to me, but I am going with a book that Eliza recommended to me, which is Bloodbound. This is a fantasy romance, so it's not really mixing it up a whole lot. I did primarily stick to my fantasy column being romantasy leaning as well. The heart wants what it wants. I don't know what to tell you. I've been in a romantasy mood, so here we are. But Bloodbound, I've been interested in it. I need to read it for my TBR game, so it all makes sense. It all works out. And then the final Mix It Up prompt is the final book in a 3+ fantasy book series. Oh, that's probably not the final one. That's probably the first in the fantasy, because that would make sense. Ding. First fantasy prompt. I have already checked this off. I read Rapture by Lauren Kate, which is the Fallen series. I've talked about it so many times. I won't go into it. I know it's annoying. But 4 books. I did it. Following that, we've got Weapon on the cover. For fantasy, it could be anything. I've gone with Half City. This is, again, a romantasy set in a school, which I've been really itching to pick up a lot of, like, Dark Academia light fantasy books. She's got the smallest dagger in her hand, but it counts nonetheless. And so, of course, we're going with Half City. Big recommendation from Covers with Cassidy, so voila. And then we've got a 500+ page fantasy. I don't really like the chunky books. I mean, I can like them, but I am a short book fan and I need to own that. I always feel bad when my like average range, because I love novellas and I like short stories, but when my average range is like less than 450, I'm like, oh, I'm not a real reader. That's stupid and silly. That's just wrong. I am a real reader and it does not matter if they're short. It's okay to like the average length of a book. Will keep telling me this, but I did read The Jasmine Throne earlier this year, which I've slotted in because for sure over 500 pages. I think it's like 518 or something. A solid fantasy. I definitely want to continue in the series, but I also fear that I did not pick up the sequel fast enough. And so I like it feels too soon to reread that one, but it was like good. And I remember enough that I should be fine, but I'm just a little bit nervous about picking up sequels lately. Moving on. We've got a fantasy with an assassin or warrior main character. I'll do ya 2-in-1. Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmer, I think. Yes. I've been wanting to read this. My friend Eliza also said that it was incredible. A lot of people have been picking it up. This is confirmed poly, which is exciting. And there's like a plot against royalty. I don't know why I'm trying to explain the plot as if I've read the book. Interested in it, though, nonetheless. There's 2 boys, 1 girl, a princess, her bodyguard, and then like the guy who's like supposed to kill them. Juicy, juicy, juicy. And then we've got our final fantasy category, which is just an elemental word in the title. And I'm going with Earth's End, which is the 3rd book, which is the book I'm currently on with the Air Awaken series. Because I just need to. I need to for my heart and soul. It's been too long. I was like, I'm gonna binge this series in like December, and then I just kept putting it off. And now we're here and I'm sad about it. So I'll be reading that. I love the Air Awaken series. It's so good. Now we can get into the most scary to me, the literary category, which I do read some lit fic. I'm not opposed to it. All the books that I've chosen like are all ones that I've had on my TBR. It's hard to convince me. It's hard to make me want to pick up a literary fiction that I feel like the critique is much like higher or lower. Like there's a lot more strong opinions towards literary fiction. Some of them are boring. I don't like certain styles of them. So I'm a little bit more picky about it. But the first one is a book that has won a literary award or prize. And I'm going with Frankenstein and Baghdad because I've heard phenomenal things about this. It sounds very good. As somebody who's never read Frankenstein, spoiler for the next prompt, I've been interested in it so long, ever since I saw it on Emma's channel like years ago. I've always been interested, so now is my chance, now is the opportunity. But before I read Frankenstein and Baghdad, it's only fair that I read for my classics prompt Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Did I initially say that I was going to read Moby Dick? Yeah. Do I still need to kind of do that? Yes. But we'll get to that. We'll get to it. Frankenstein needs to be the priority this year. I've never read Frankenstein. I never read Dracula. Those are like the booktube staples when it comes to classics. And I feel like it's my duty as a booktuber to at least attempt to read these books. I think I'm going to like them. I don't think I'm going to hate them. Classics can be hit or miss, of course. I gotta do it. I mean, I can maybe like watch all the movies that everybody talks about, and I don't know. Next up, we have a literary fiction book that you pick based off the cover. I had to go with Yesteryear. I'm obsessed with both covers. I think that they're both stunning. I am late to the party as per usual, but everybody, like the buzz around this book has been incredibly hyped. A lot of people seem to really like it, but also acknowledge that it's not going to be the book to change people's minds or like help somebody navigate that situation. Like it's for the people who already feel that way. I have too many thoughts about a book I haven't read. I know. That's the problem when you watch booktube so much, is like you just eventually you hear everybody's critiques and you just know too much. Anyway, next up we've got a literary fiction with an unusual or experimental format. I don't know what this is supposed to mean for literary, and I will just have to wait and see until I read the books to know if it really fits. But based upon my like slight Googling that I've done, Mrs. Death, perhaps. I also have a backup as the library at Mount Char, which is also an option, but I do really want to prioritize Mrs. Death, because Kayla liked it. A few other booktubers have talked about it, and I've just been kind of curious about it. So that's my pick. And then the final literary prompt is a coming of age. Now, I do have next to me Heartstopper, but following the challenge for realsies, because that's more romance, for literary, I'm going with Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy, which has had such mixed reviews. I have seen 5-star raving reviews of people loving it, being like, Jeanette McCurdy has really found her voice, and she's very like stylistic with it, and like intentional with her words and everything. While at the same time, a lot of people think that it's glorifying this age gap teacher-student relationship and all of the things that go along with it. So I'm excited to make my own opinion. I'm getting prepared to be uncomfortable. I know that's gonna happen. But also, if it's good, it could be the new next Lolita, or it'll just be a really good, reference to say like, do or don't. So we'll see. But yeah, that's my TBR. That's everything that I have slotted in. I will, of course, change things as I read throughout the year, but that's kind of the plan. My battery is flashing at me, so I'm going to leave you here. Have a great day. I will see you in the next video. Bye!